I think Tom brushed a little bit on what we hope to accomplish today. And all of you are just eavesdropping on all the conversations going around, and I think you're all well prepared for this kind of adventure in your careers and other things. So essentially, if you could think of it like a SWOT analysis, I'm sure you've all been through that: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Well, I think that's where we want to try to spend our time. We all have great stories to tell. I sure as hell do. I don't know about the rest of you. So we have to.
I've heard them all.
Some things never change.
So we have to be careful not to tell too many stories, and sort of stick to the outcome, which is how do we make it better? How is it? How do we make it better? What shouldn't we do? What should we do? Etc. So I think I've met all of you. My role is to be the moderator. And the reason I get that role is I have a reputation, at least with Ray, of being sort of a control freak. And I'm the youngest of 10 children, so so this is like family dinner for most of my life. And then spent time in the military, where I was with the 82nd Airborne Division as a paratrooper, 7th Special Forces. So I tell people I never slept alone until I got married. So I'm used to being in a crowded room, and so if I interrupt you or jump on you, it's not personal. It's just that
Try the chicken parm; it'll be here all week. Okay. You know what? A good icebreaker and something I know everyone loves is if we could just go around the room and just introduce yourself for the.
Have fun.
Thanks,
Hi,
Ray.
Ray.
Thanks for dinner.
Thank you, Ray.
Right. Just introduce yourself and maybe give us a brief bio. Maybe
A Greek bio?
Brief bio.
Oh.
Right.
I hadn't heard that.
Would you like to do
No
the honors?
problem. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Deb Schuler. I live in southern New Hampshire. I currently work for Fairchild Semiconductor. I've been there about 12 years. I've been doing learning and development for about 20. And I've just, in the last few months, came to the realization that I still love what I do, but it's time for me to find a new place to do it. And so I'm really delighted to have the opportunity, which I have to thank my current boss, Paul, who will introduce himself later, gave his staff the opportunity to meet with Ray for professional development. So it was perfect timing for me. Enjoying the process. I'm at the point where I've just finished all the reading and the writing. I think I'm getting ready to do the first draft of the core themes coming up soon.
Peter?
I'm Peter Mason. I live and work in Yarmouth, Maine. I telework full-time for SRA International Work, government contractor based in D.C. And my specific role with them is I provide project management support consulting for IT deployments for federal agencies. And specifically right now I'm working a lot with the Environmental Protection Agency. I went through core themes. I think I finished maybe 2 years ago. I was sort of on the slow track. I think it probably took 1.5 years, 2 years to get through the entire process. But during that time, I made a transition within my own company, so that's sort of where I landed at the end of core themes, was in this new position that I'm currently working within. I was previously working with some support groups that supported program offices within EPA, so super fun, and perhaps in some of the cleanup programs. But that's sort of my quick bio.
Thank you.
Sharon Hinckley. I have about 20 years of experience in human resources, mostly in the healthcare industry and some in manufacturing. And I've just started the Core Themes program, and because I've found out that I'm not really happy in my job, and so I want to find out what makes me happy and get into a happy career.
Hi, I'm Megan Pauley. I live in Scarborough, and I went through Core Themes about 2 years ago. I also was probably might have taken 1.5 to 2 years to do the process. Just really sort of needing support and needing some time to do some work, self-work, to get, and then check back in with Ray. But it's been an amazing experience. Was in education for many years, 7 or 8 years, and I have a master's in school counseling, and just realized that I wasn't happy and was feeling kind of guilty about it. So through core themes, I've been able to branch out and continue on. So it's still a little bit in the process of change, but with a lot of self-assurance.
My name is Sarah Wintle. I live in Cape Elizabeth. I did core themes. I don't remember exactly when I finished, but 3 or 4 years ago, I think. At the time I was working at USM and I was really unhappy in my job. I was doing education policy research. I enjoyed education, but I was not meant to research it. So my brother had actually gone through core themes and said, "You need to go talk to Ray." So I sat down and talked to Ray. And I'm now working with my family in a variety of businesses that are, I wouldn't say that I've sort of honed in on all my core themes, but I have a much stronger idea of, after going through the process, of what the things are that are important to me. And I try to make decisions accordingly. So anyway, that's what.
My name is Paul Lomas. I live in North Yarmouth. I work for Fairchild Semiconductor. I've been with Fairchild and his predecessor company since I got out of college. I started working with Ray a few years ago, thinking about what life after Fairchild, what might that look like, and I was thinking, consulting, board service, that sort of thing. And done a bunch of different jobs at Fairchild over the years, and been fortunate to be able to move around. Had an opportunity to move into the human resources group last fall, and found that it was a pretty good match with a lot of my core themes, maybe not 100%. So I took it, and I've been working with a great team and really learning a lot. I found the core themes process very helpful in trying to decide whether I would accept that position or not.
My name is Joan Tiskovich. I went through core themes, I was just trying to figure that out 10 years ago when I left LLB. After being there 18 years, basically all of my adult career was at LLB, and I was in the supply chain management group and did a lot of traveling and had 2 young kids and decided that this probably wasn't the best thing for me. And when I left, I had no idea what I was going to do. I felt like I had been in retail and LLB for my career and didn't really know how to transfer those skills or experiences, or I would say what my strengths were, into something else. So I went through the process with Ray. It was phenomenal. Decided that for many reasons there were a number of things that were a great fit for me at LLB and a number of things that just did not work very well. So it was a time for me to really reflect and think about what I wanted to do, what could I do. It was a time for me to really gain some confidence in the skills that I had had and what I'd learned along the way, and try to apply them elsewhere. And ended up working for a small entrepreneurial company in Kennebunk for 8 years and loved that. And then there were some changes that took place there, and just a year ago I made another career transition. But all of the process that I went through with Ray was helpful to me in the next, when I was looking for another phase of my career. Really good.
Let me introduce you to Jeff Ryan. Jeff's going to be a fly on the wall tonight. Many of you know Jeff from our years together at LLB, and he's a recovering beaner like the rest of us.
I also spent 19 years there.
Right. Jeff owns his own marketing company called 19 Oaks, and so he's helping us with some marketing and messaging. So he's going to be listening intently, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Dave?
So I'm Dave Hyde, and part of the being alumni, this corner over here. If you, the rest of you can stay over there. I was there 17 years and was part of a downsizing and happened to be diagnosed with cancer at the same time, and was brought into Ray. And it was an interesting process because it was really like, this is my house and I've got a lot of old stuff I've collected and I've got to get rid of this stuff and really find out what's important. And, even though you know what a lot of this stuff is, it's really about sort of getting rid of this stuff and moving into, like going from a 4-bedroom house to a condo or something, and you've got to really figure out what you're going to do. And the process was really good for me because it really honed in on what was important to me and who I needed to be and where I needed to be. And so leaving the corporate world, I started a nonprofit. It's sort of a crazy thing to do, but I wanted to take my experience and use it to take people on canoe trips and kayak trips as part of the healing process for people who've been through cancer and so on, because I do something about that. So I did that for 11 years. I partnered with the Chewonki Foundation, which gave me a lot of nice structure. But it really, my love of the outdoors, if you're part of the Bean organization, you love being outdoors. And so it really filled that part of me. The part of starting up an organization was a challenge, but I felt I knew enough about who I was and what I could offer and where I could go. I did that for 11 years and then switched, and now I own a frozen yogurt store. It's called Go-Berry. It's on 4th Street. You'll
find coupons under your
well, if somebody told me that I could bring it, I would have brought it. I'll take any cheap marketing opportunity. And it really was, and that was about taking a lot of the skills that you learn and glean from a place like LL Bean and applying them in a different venue. And starting up a business again and starting up in an area that I knew nothing about really, but that was okay. So that's what I've been doing for the last 3.5 years.
My name is Jim Williams, another Beaner. I was there 12 years, but had a total of over 20 years in human resource field. And I left Bean 10 years ago. In fact, it was 10 years ago that I worked with Ray. 10 years to the day probably. I was probably having meetings with him 10 years ago right now. I left Bean like Joan. I had no idea what I was going to do next, and just knew that I had was no longer happy, was not engaged, and it was just time for me to leave. Because after going through core themes, I eventually opened my own art gallery and called Mainly Lab Studio. Ray put
you do the dog.
Yeah, Ray put a print there that I gave him out just to.
See, now I couldn't bring my yogurt, but you bring your prints.
Pardon me?
You're in Nightville.
I'm in Nightville now.
Yeah.
So 10 years ago, I opened the gallery, Mainly Lab Studio. I also worked at Planet Dog part-time. I went in to sell them my greeting cards at Planet Dog, and I liked the store so much, I said, can I work here part-time? And I did that for 5 years as a retail clerk, so I'd work there 15 hours a week. My dog could go with me to Planet Dog, then I'd go to the gallery, and dog went there. So Pirate is my black lab. He's with me most of the time. It's rare that we're apart. But after 5 years, the art business is a tough one, so I was struggling a little bit to say, do I need to get a real job again? And fortunately, about that same time, the manager at Planet Dog decided he was leaving. So I threw my hat in the ring, and for the last 4 years, I've also managed the Planet Dog store. Until November, after 4 years of the retail 7-day-a-week thing, I was rather burned out. And I had put the art business on the back burner, and I really wanted to get back to that. So when I found a new space in Nightville, I'm now out of Planet Dog, a great company, but focused more on my art business again. I'm really excited about getting back to that. So that's what I'm doing.
I'm Marie Sola. Hey, everybody. I'm from South Portland, and I came to Ray because I wanted a job at Beans, and I heard he was really well connected. So let's see. I think I probably took longer. I took a really long time to go through core themes. As a matter of fact, I'm not even sure if I'm done. Ray, am I done? I don't know, but I think I'm out. I'm just coming out of phase 4 now. But that was primarily because I was in a very labor-intensive job at the time that I came to Ray, working internationally, probably 70, 80 hours a week, traveling. So it was one of those things that I fit in where I could. Basically, I worked in media and around media, television primarily, for about 20 years before I started working for an organization called YPO, Young Presidents Organization. And I was there for 6 years, and I loved my job on so many levels, but I was approaching 50, and I just thought, I've always worked for everybody else's passion, everybody else's pocketbook. I'm very entrepreneurial at heart. All of my jobs, even if they haven't been with a startup, my job has been a startup job. I've created it from scratch. And I thought, I think it became pretty clear to me as I was going through the core themes program with Ray and articulating my core themes, which really none of them were surprising to me. It was just getting them down on paper. That really, the entrepreneurial space is where I wanted to be. So I quit my job a year and a half ago without another job, without a game plan. Dipped into my savings, hit my 401k. I think my financial planner hates me now. But I thought, it's now or never. Either, I'm going to take this jump. I can always go back and work for somebody. So with that being said, right now I've done a couple of different things over the past year and a half to sort of get to the point of where I'm at. And I'm forming a for-profit with a social mission to help end violence against women called Daughters of Change. It's going to be loosely based on sort of a Tom Shoes model where I'll have great products with a great story for a great cause, but also with a lot of online content. It will be, I want to take this global because I do have contacts now, although I'll start, my first one here locally for proof of concept, but hoping to launch something by September. I'm still working through the business plan and the formulation with some great mentors from SCORE. Ray still helps me. In the meantime, I'm looking for about 15 hours of project work, and if anybody knows of anything and refers me, then Dave will give you a free yogurt.
Of course. Why not?
So that's good. I'm gonna stop hitting the 401k. So I'm looking now to do some contract work for about 15 hours a week and spend the rest of the time on the business, and that's where I'm at.
So my name is Reese Tides. I was an attorney at a big law firm in New York City and DC for a few years. Moved to Maine to work for Central Maine Power, Iberdrola, which is a Spanish parent company, and I'm originally from Puerto Rico, and so that explained the link. Why would I be there? But didn't like it. Even when I moved to Maine, I knew that I was not going to like it, and so I gave it a go for 3 years, and I think I took the fast track approach. I basically started core themes and finished it in less than 3 months, and quit my job without having a job December of 2014. And so it's been good. I can say that I'm still in the transition period, but I'm more comfortable doing what I'm doing now, which is I'm a legal recruiter. I find attorneys in New York City who are not happy with their jobs. I relate to them and I place them at another firm where they're going to be unhappy for a little longer. And so I do that.
If we're not happy.
Right. I'm just a facilitator, and then I also do consulting services for a legal technology company out of Virginia. I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I've reached whatever core themes I need to hit, but I'm much closer than I ever was as a practicing attorney. So.
Hi, I'm Scott Roberts, and I live in Gorham, Maine. I got up here to be in-house counsel at IDEX many, many years ago. From there, they moved me over to run the sales force for the veterinary side of the business, and a lot of change happened, and all of a sudden they decided to throw out the CEO, and David came back into power for those people that know him, and we all got fired and thrown out. So at that point, because the old guard came back in and took over. So from there, that's where I met Ray. Not sure what I wanted to do next, if I wanted to do anything, but I knew one thing: I wanted to stay in Maine at that point because of the kids that we had. And that was a great process. So that was probably 15 years ago or so that I went through that. At the time, you guys know Peter Cooley, any Beaners? I knew Peter very well, rest of his soul. And from there, I did a lot of other things along the way. I became CEO of a telephone company for a while here. I helped Fred Express get public. I was part of that group. But the best part was every transition, the themes that Ray and I put together always kept true. There's a couple of things that stuck with me along the way that worked out. So When I left Wright Express, I loved what I was doing at Wright Express. I loved working with Mike Dubiak. He had really great integrity. I hated the product. I just hated it. I just had no fun with it on it. So when they went public, I had to leave, and I've been off doing my own consulting work and leadership development and executive coaching and conflict resolution and things that I'm supposedly good at. So that carries me all over the world, and I'm now in a transition where I don't want to travel over the world anymore. I'm trying to move back into the state and do a little more. So that's where I'm headed, right now. So it's all about me.
Great. We went around the room. What I realized, and I heard from a lot of people, is, "Hey, I'm not there yet." Well, guess what? Nobody is. And it's a cliche, but it's the journey. You're on a path to a purpose-driven career. And this is your path, and your path, and your path. And what we're hoping you folks will do tonight will be comfortable enough to kind of share that path with us. Critique the process that you went through to get on the path, and kind of give us some mile markers along the way. Maybe update us on where you're at. Ernie and Ray and I got together and crafted some of the classic open-ended questions. But really, Ernie's role here as moderator is just to kind of steer this herd. But I really, we're hoping for kind of a lively, freewheeling dialogue around core themes. And I'm hoping you guys are comfortable enough to take a deep dive, because that's really what's going to be the takeaway for us. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Ernie.